Adults can't complain about kids not wanting to play outside, when the outside we built for them completely lacks kid-friendly infrastructure. Adults shouldn't complain about kids not wanting to play outside, because the outside we build for them often lacks children-friendly infrastructure. Think about it. Half of America's residential areas lack sidewalks. Most of our towns and cities don't have safe biking areas. We have huge intersections that children need to cross in order to get to the local mall. Our parks are miles and miles away from our homes, and not to mention even when we do have parks close to our homes, some of them don't even have good equipment for children. And most importantly, we've perpetuated a damn culture where adults freak out if any child of any age is left alone for any amount of time outside. We have to always have an adult supervising them now, which frankly, kills the fun for some of them, but also limits them to the amount of free time their parents have. Now obviously, don't go leaving toddlers outside, but why do you need to follow 12-year-old Timmy around the neighborhood? Adults really should not complain when kids don't want to play outside. We make it so difficult for them to do it safely and in peace. Watered-down mayo is better than milk in a hot chocolate drink. Call me disgusting, but hear me out. Mayo has a ton of fat content and it's all just flavor. The savory taste of mayo goes perfectly with the sweet hot chocolate. It has an added benefit of not triggering any lactose intolerances. For anyone wondering, the only way to make watered-down mayo without it being just a bunch of globules of mayo. You have to put the mayo in a food processor and slowly add water, essentially emulsifying it with the water. Edit. From the thousands of replies that I've gotten, I've learned many things. 1. There's something called Viennese hot chocolate which uses egg yolk in the drink to make it thick, and uses the same emulsifying technique that I use. 2. Mayo is a common ingredient in chocolate cakes and brownies. Major names like Portillo swear by it for their chocolate cakes. 3. Oil is a great emulsifying agent. 4. Acidity. Mayo has vinegar as a great addition to chocolate. Edit 2. I can't keep up with all the recipe demands, so I'm just gonna post it here. Nearly equal parts of mayo and water, a little less water than mayo. Water has to be hot, but not boiling hot, or the mayo turns into a bunch of globules. You start blending the mayo in a food processor, blender, and start adding the water slowly, and once you've emulsified all the water, add your preferred hot chocolate mix. Mine is Cadbury. I've only tried it with Heinz and Kraft. Someone tried it with Hellmann's, but apparently it didn't turn out right. I didn't get details on how it went wrong though. People are only supportive of your weight loss to a point, then they'll actively work against it. 4 years ago I weighed 290 pounds. I needed to lose about 100 pounds to be a healthy weight. People started noticing I was losing weight after about 20 pounds. By the time I lost 30 pounds, people started getting annoyed I wasn't eating the donuts people would bring into the office, or that I wouldn't participate in a potluck lunch. You can afford to eat a donut. You are going to lose too much weight. Both were actual comments I heard when I still weighed over 250 pounds. I had lost 80 pounds before COVID, and gained some back, but I'm starting to lose again. I just know I have to not let other people know I'm trying to lose, because screw those people. Edit. Thank you all for the kind words and awards. I never expected that people with addictions would relate to this, and I'm sorry that you do. I always assumed that people with drug addictions would have more support throughout their recovery. I thought people would be understanding of sobriety at least. I guess not. Well, if this helped anyone else realize they aren't alone and struggling trying to improve themselves, then I'm glad I posted it. There should be adults-only apartment buildings. Stop telling me about senior retirement villages. I am 34, not 50. I cannot move into one for another 16 years. We cannot afford a house. We're saving for one. We have reported the family to the landlord and CPS. My wife and I got some new upstairs neighbors recently. They were a bit loud moving in, but we figured that they were just trying to unpack as quickly as possible to get settled in. We brought them a basket of baked goods and were promptly told by the lady of the house. I hope you guys are good with noise. We have 6 kids under the age of 8. They've been here for a month. We have not slept for a month. They scream at one another all hours of the day and night, run and jump super loudly, and are just generally annoying. Evidently, they like the sound of our doorbell and will press it repeatedly to the point where we decided to take the batteries out. We've filed several noise complaints, only to be told they're kids. What do you expect? Considering that we're paying nearly $2,000 in rent per month, we were expecting at least some peace and quiet. If there were an adults-only apartment building with no children allowed, that would be amazing. Edit to add, no one under the age of 18 would be allowed to move in. Should any resident get pregnant and decide to have the child, they will be moved to a child-friendly complex owned by the same company. Original wording was vague. It's literally one building for people without kids, and one for people with them. They would have 3 months to vacate their current apartment and move into the child-friendly block. This is a hypothetical situation. And yes, I know retirement communities exist. My wife and I are in our 30s, we don't qualify yet. We actually like kids, it's the fact that kids are very poorly behaved now and we want to have at least some peace and quiet. For those of you with children, good for you, just raise them to be aware of the noise they make and try to shape them into respectful and kind little humans. Last edit, I can't believe this tiny germ of an unpopular opinion managed to make it on the front page. Whether or not you agree, the point is moot. My wife and I have decided to spend the weekend at my parents' house to get some space from our neighbors. The stress that we've been going through with these neighbors is intense. We are planning to move out once our lease is up and we'll be looking into getting a top-floor unit. We live in America, so this child-free building couldn't exist here. I know that and I wanted to see if people were interested in something like that. We called CPS because we think the kids are being abused, not because of the noise. They show a lot of signs of neglect, despite the fact that the parents are home nearly all the time. Thank you all for the advice, awards and debate. May all of you be safe and have a Memorial Day. The whole "we don't deserve dogs" culture of dog worship is way over the top. Don't get me wrong, I like dogs. I have 2 of them, but they're not these selfless perfect heroes who live only to serve the greater good. They're individuals with individual personalities. Some are friendly and loving, some are more standoffish and don't like people or other dogs very much, and some, like some people, are fucking assholes. Some dogs will rescue kids from rubble, some will help stop seizures, and some will bite your feet in the middle of the night because you dared to roll over and rustle the covers. Some dogs want to play with everyone and every dog they meet. Some will attach themselves to the pants legs of your nice neighbor who was just trying to bring in the groceries, then bark their stupid little heads off at every single person, car, dog, squirrel, or leaf that goes past the window. So you move all the furniture away from the window so she can't see out anymore, but it doesn't matter because she can still hear the cars and the little fucker just won't stop barking. Sometimes they're lovable friends who want to play all the time. Sometimes they try to bite you every time you sit on the fucking couch. It's been 12 years, I'm allowed on the couch. Get it through your stupid, grapefruit-sized dog head already. Anyway, yes. We deserve dogs. Dogs are just people. Some are cool, some suck. The death of a pet should be socially accepted and given vacation from work to grieve your loss as with any family member that passed away. As per the title, I hear a lot of people going through the loss of a pet and not being able to take a vacation for a few days so they can properly grieve. You spend years of your life with your pets. They're closer to you than most family members, and still, some bosses would not give a vacation for the fact that the death of your pet is not an important enough event for which you would not be able to work. I know for certain that when, and hopefully not soon, my dog will die, I would be devastated. Going to work would be the last thing I would like to do in that case. Edit. Thank you for all the awards. Also, there's a ton of people talking about pets that die quickly. Nothing stops you from buying 50 hamsters, but this applies more to pets that you actually share a bond with. Small rodents have a rather quick lifespan and is not as devastating as losing a dog, cat, rabbits, reptiles and other pets that are for years by your side. Celebrating kindergarten graduation is only about the vanity of the parents and is otherwise idiotic and meaningless. I see this dumbness every year at about this time. Cape-and gowns waltz the stage ceremonies infringing on brag about your grad type of local news segments. College graduation is meaningful for many. High school graduation is meaningful for some. Kindergarten graduation is only meaningful for the vanity of the parents. Getting mad about adults catching foul balls and not giving them to kids is stupid. You don't know how long they've waited to get that. Something that's always bothered me in any sport is when an adult gets a chance to get a game-used item and is judged or talked bad about because they didn't hand it to a kid next to them. If they could be selfish or they could have been trying for one since they were as old as the kid everyone is judging them over. Guys calling each other kings to uplift each other is super cringy. Same with women and the word queen. I get that it's about empowerment, but if someone says I'm a king and I deserve a queen or don't let her get you down, king comes across as majorly cringy and immediately think the person is self-centered if talking about themselves. Maybe it's just that personally, 90% of the people I've seen referred to as a king or a queen were just horrible people with no self-awareness. Edit: lot of kings think I'm out here targeting them, but I'm just sharing an unpopular opinion. Warrior women characters should be played by muscular actresses instead of skinny weak models. I'm really annoyed when a warrior woman character is played by a stick woman. I know that they are seen as ideal female figure and muscular women are seen as gross by society. But just like how we are fine with fat characters played by fat people, we should be fine with strong characters played by muscular people. Why are we so afraid of showing masculine, strong female characters on shows? If there is a tomboy, masculine female character, it is played by a stick woman. If there is a female warrior, it is played by a stick woman. If there's a superheroine, guess what? Stick woman. Producers shouldn't be afraid of unique casts even if they don't fit into society's norms. There should be more effeminate or weak male characters and muscular or masculine female characters. There are some attempts. But even those characters end up being played by cliché, bad casts most of the time. It's absolutely infuriating when the host of a radio channel talks over the beginning of a song. I listen to the radio all the time when I'm driving, and in my area there are several radio stations guilty of this. So a song ends, and the host of the station talks for a moment about the artist that just played and introduces the new one, while talking over the instrumental introduction of the next song. Think Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix. It's still part of the song, so why is somebody talking over it? It's almost like instead of framing a picture or a painting, you just staple the frame over the edges. Edit: apparently many users are pissed off that this is a more popular opinion. I hadn't realized how many people agreed with me on this. I've never heard any mention of it. Us quieter people should ask loud people, why are you always talking, with the same confidence that they ask us why we're always quiet. Pretty much the title. All my life, whether it's with friends, family or especially teachers, being quiet has always been viewed as something to be frowned upon. I just don't have anything valuable or interesting to say, or maybe I just don't want to talk to you. Who cares? I believe treating rude extroverts the same way they treat us would make them realize how absurd some of their statements are. Drinking alcohol and the overall culture behind alcohol consumption is massively overrated. I know this'll make me sound like a prude or a pearl clutcher, but I've never been able to understand why society puts drinking on such a high pedestal. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy the occasional drink every now and again, but the culture of always going to the pub or getting drinks every weekend with your friends just never appealed to me. I even get weird looks when I'm out with friends pre-COVID and I don't order something alcoholic, like I can't just enjoy a soda or some water. I just hate how society and culture have drilled it into our heads that drinking is fun and sociable and whatnot. Just my 2 cents. Watching the movie before reading the book is better than reading the book before watching the movie. Most of the time, when I make this argument, people say but then there are spoilers for the book. This makes no sense to me, as reading the book first will lead to spoilers for the movie. And 90% of the time, when you read first then watch, you are massively disappointed by the movie, and most of the time it doesn't do the book justice. But if you watch the movie first, you can enjoy the movie for what it is. And then when you read the book seems 10 times better, as there's so much more content that was left out of the movie. So instead of reading a great book and watching a shit film, you watch a good film sometimes and read an amazing book. Edit. Someone commented below but has since deleted it. A good example of this is The Shining, a classic film that has stood the test of time and pretty highly rated by a lot of people as a film. But when you read the book, wow, it's amazing. The Kubrick adaptation was a joke and King hates it. But as a film, it's brilliant. But if you read the book before it, you'd probably hate it. China didn't steal your job. Your boss sent it there to make more money off cheap labor. Blame your company, not China. Placing blame on another country for receiving work from American companies isn't that country's fault. If someone has a problem with it, then their anger should be directed towards the company and their leaders that chose to send that work away. Companies don't care about you, just profits. Everything that seemingly is done out of kindness is a bargaining chip used to retain you as a worker. You're expendable, and as soon as it makes financial sense to cut you out of the equation, a company will. This whole war on girly girls shit is getting annoying. I'm what people would probably describe as a girly girl. I have long fake nails, I like the color pink, I wear lots of skirts. I really love wearing makeup and spending lots of time on my hair. The whole shebang. And I'm so tired of all these people saying you're too girly, wow, you're basic, you look so fake, like. Now don't get me wrong, I know everybody has their own preferences, so if you aren't into the girly girl type, you have every right not to be, and that's completely fine. And of course, women who aren't into more traditionally feminine things are absolute angels too. But hearing and reading comments about how I'm so fake or probably have a shitty personality because I care a lot about things like nails and makeup is so disheartening, and I'm just over it at this point. We should be empowering all women regardless of what they look like or are interested in, not dragging one group down to bring another up. And for the record, no, I'm not putting all this attention into what I look like to attract men or any of that kind of stuff, though some women do, and there's nothing wrong with that. I do it all solely for my own happiness. Cheese doesn't count as a pizza topping, it's the default. Like, generally speaking, pizzas always have cheese. It's just part of what a pizza is. Crust, sauce, cheese, seasonings. No, somebody's gonna come in with the "oh well, actually there are some pizzas that don't have X." Nope. When people think of pizza, they imagine it with cheese. Pizza has cheese by default, it's not a topping. Toppings are the additional things you put on that aren't already there, like peppers, meats, onions, olives, etc. I don't care what y'all want to say about "oh well, the cheese goes on top so clearly it's a topping." Nah, if the cheese wasn't there, it wouldn't even be a pizza, it would be bread with tomato sauce. Cheese isn't a topping just because it goes on top the sauce. A pizza with no toppings is a cheese pizza. Edit, this shitpost blew up. Y'all really took such an interest in my high-ass thoughts that I had to clear my notifications altogether. ITT. People simultaneously telling me this isn't unpopular, while also telling me I'm wrong and that cheese is a topping. Clearly, it's controversial. Stay mad. It's okay to be happy that someone died. I know this sounds evil, but I don't get why you always have to be sad that someone died, especially when that someone was just all levels of cruel when they were alive. It's rude and disrespectful to be like that, I get told, well, with all due respect, isn't it even more disrespectful to memory to wax poetic about their life simply because this horrible person is now dead? I won't even go to famous horrible people who died. There's enough on that on the internet. I'm talking about Aunt Karen, who did nothing but shove her entitlement to everyone's faces, or Uncle Brent, who beat his wife and kids, who suddenly become the saints once they die. What are they gonna do when they're buried in the ground or burned to ashes? That's right, nothing, so I can be happy they died.